The moral aspects of the question. The aim of socialism, the desire to produce a better social life, is one that is above all praise from the moral standpoint, and if its plans and methods were as good as its motive, these chapters would not have been written. For no objection could be made to the desire for improved conditions. It is only when the plans and methods of orthodox socialism are carefully examined that they are seen to be out of touch with sound moral principles. Socialists are beginning to realize that it is not possible to establish a state socialism and to run it successfully without first disinheriting the present race of capitalists. Now, it may be a good thing to possess material things, for no true attainment either for the individual or the state can be obtained by methods which violate the principles of fellowship and goodwill. The only proper way to achieve better conditions is honestly to earn them or rightly inherit them from the past. This is recognized by honorable men everywhere, and all moralists agree that true advancement can never be made or attained otherwise than by unrighteous methods. The reason is found in the constitution of things, and in a certain law of nature which none may contravene with impunity. On the physical plane, it is known as the conservation of energy, and is expressed by such axioms as action and reaction are equal and opposite, and like produces like. In the moral world, it finds expression in the kindred axiom, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. The record of human life is one continuous exposure of the folly of seeking after a good thing by methods which violate this principle. Here is found the explanation of most of the misery that is in the world. In the light of these facts, it is very discouraging to find that a movement like socialism, which has for its end the amelioration of the ills from which society suffers, should, in its programme, not only advocate methods which are in violation of a fundamental law of nature, but should altogether leave out of the reckoning the connection which always exists between individual well-doing and social well-being. But even if the principles advocated by its leaders were less flagrantly unjust, the moral influence of the change would be harmful rather than beneficial, simply because men would begin to look outside themselves for improved conditions in a world where all growth and progress come from within. Socialist teachers are always putting the blame for individual misfortune on causes which lie outside themselves. But Carlyle seems to me to have given a truer diagnosis of the situation when he wrote, "When an individual is miserable, what does it behove him to do? To complain of this man or that, or this thing or that? To fill the street and the world with lamentations and objurgations? Not so at all, the reverse of so. All moralists advise him not to complain of any person or of anything but of himself alone." It is a hard teaching, but it is true wisdom. We waste our energy when we complain of others. We turn it to useful service when we begin to remove the inner shortcomings which have produced the outer result. The cause and explanation of nearly the whole of human suffering and misery are set forth in the inimitable parable of the prodigal son, who neglected the duties of his home and went forth to seek his own pleasures, regardless of the interest of others. The prodigal became unhappy and found himself in poverty, not because of the economic arrangements of his time, but because he had put his own pleasures before his duties. The idea that a man becomes poor because of his virtues, or rich by violating the principles of fellowship and goodwill, is one of the fallacies which our socialist friends should do well to get rid of. But the fact is that all abiding success in any direction is based on integrity and honour. We may just as well say that a man can build a house or wall without a plumb line, and regardless of the law of gravitation, as to believe that he can build up a sound business or better social organisation by methods which transgress the law of justice and righteousness. If it be true that what a man sows he reaps, it must also be true that what a man reaps he must have already sown. And if we want better conditions, we must see to it that the seeds we sow are those which will produce the desired result. All experience and observation to go to show that the roots from which human misery springs are found in self-centeredness in one of its many forms. Yet, our present-day socialism, the spectacle of a great movement which sets out to improve social conditions by methods which violate the elementary principle of common honesty, it does not even call upon its adherents to begin by cultivating the individual virtues, which is a fundamental condition of happiness and progress, and individual and social. This was taken from Bibby's Annual in 1936.